The young thugs laughed as they surrounded the old man's table, demanding his wallet. But in exactly 4 minutes, 3 high-ranking military officers would walk through that door, render the sharpest salute the cafe had ever seen, and the laughter would die in their throats. The punks had no idea they were threatening the man who'd commanded 80,000 troops across 3 continents. It was 7:15 a.m. Joe's Coffee, corner of 5th and Madison. The morning rush was just beginning. Commuters grabbed orders and fled. The espresso machine hissed. The smell of burnt beans and overpriced pastries filled the air. Marcus Donovan sat at his usual table. Corner spot, back to the wall. Clear view of the entrance. Old habits. He was reading the newspaper, the physical kind. Black coffee in a white ceramic mug. No sugar, no cream. Same order, every morning. 3 years. At 68, Marcus looked like every other retiree. Gray hair cropped military short out of muscle memory. Wire-rimmed glasses. Simple blue flannel shirt. Jeans. Work boots. Nothing about him screamed wealth or importance. Nothing invited attention, which is exactly how he wanted it. The 5 young men who walked through the door at 7:12 a.m. didn't know any of this. They saw an old man, alone, vulnerable, easy target. Their leader was Tyler, 22, neck tattoos, designer hoodie, gold chain. He had that swagger, the kind young men adopt when they've never been truly tested. "Yo, old man," Tyler said, sliding into the seat across from Marcus, uninvited. His crew spread out, blocking exits, establishing dominance. "Nice spot you got here." Marcus didn't look up from his newspaper. He turned the page, slowly, deliberately. Tyler's smile thinned. He wasn't used to being ignored. "I'm talking to you." "I heard you." Marcus's voice was quiet, measured. "Then show some respect. Look at me when I'm talking." Marcus folded his newspaper, set it down, looked up. His eyes were pale gray, calm. The kind of calm that comes from seeing things these boys couldn't imagine. Respect is earned, son, not demanded. The crew laughed, but it was forced, uncomfortable. Something about the old man was different. Tyler leaned forward, invading Marcus's space. "You know what I think? I think you're sitting at my table. I think you need to pay rent. Call it a coffee tax." "This is Joe's table. I paid for my coffee. You're welcome to order one." "Funny." Tyler wasn't smiling anymore. "I'm going to ask you one more time. Empty your wallet on the table. Now." Marcus took a sip of his coffee, set the mug down with deliberate care. No. The single word hung in the air. Absolute. Final. One of Tyler's crew, a kid with a shaved head and a scar, stepped closer. "Oh man, you deaf? Tyler said empty the wallet." But Marcus wasn't looking at them anymore. He was looking at something else. On Tyler's wrist, partially hidden by his watch, was a tattoo. Military style. Unit insignia. But wrong. Fake. The kind civilians got to look tough without ever serving. Marcus had seen 1,000 real ones. This wasn't one. "You serve?" Marcus asked quietly, nodding at the tattoo. Tyler glanced down, then smirked. "Yeah, Special Forces. Did 2 tours. Afghanistan. Hard shit." The lie was so casual, so confident. Marcus had heard it before. Stolen valor. Men who wore the uniform in ink, but never in deed. Which unit? Marcus's tone hadn't changed. Still calm. "What?" "Which Special Forces unit? 5th Group? 7th? Rangers?" Tyler's smirk faltered. "What's it to you?" "Just curious. I knew some men in Special Forces. Wondered if our paths crossed.
Yeah, well, they didn't. Now stop stalling and give me the wallet before my boy here gets impatient.
Tyler gestured to Scarface, who cracked his knuckles. The cafe had gone quiet. Other customers pretended not to notice. The barista, a college kid named Emma, was frozen behind the counter, phone in hand, debating whether to call police. Marcus looked at each of the 5 young men, measured them, read them. Tyler was the talker, the leader, but not the real threat. Scarface was the muscle, the enforcer, the one who'd throw the first punch. The other 3 were followers. Here's what's going to happen, Marcus said, his voice still quiet but carrying a new edge. You're going to walk out of this cafe. You're going to leave me to finish my coffee in peace. And you're going to reconsider how you spend your mornings. Tyler's face darkened.
Or what, old man? You gonna fight all 5 of us?
No. Marcus's eyes never left Tyler's. I'm going to give you the opportunity to walk away with your dignity. What you do with that opportunity is up to you. Scarface had heard enough. He reached out, grabbed Marcus's shoulder. The door chimed. 3 men walked in. They weren't dressed like typical customers. 3 men in service dress uniforms, crisp, immaculate, navy blue with gold trim, ribbons stacked on their chests, brass polished to mirror shine. A colonel, silver eagles. A major, gold oak leaves. A captain, double silver bars. All 3 moved with unmistakable military bearing, back straight, eyes forward, movements precise. Tyler's crew shifted uncomfortably, but Tyler held his ground, hand still gripping Marcus's shoulder. The colonel's eyes swept the cafe. Threat evaluation. His gaze landed on the corner table, on the 5 young men, on the old man sitting calmly. The colonel's entire demeanor changed. His posture snapped straighter. His hand came up in the sharpest salute the cafe had ever witnessed. Precision, respect, the kind reserved for the highest ranks. "General Donovan, sir," the colonel's voice rang out. "Good morning, sir." The major and captain immediately followed. 3 hands, 3 perfect salutes, held with unwavering discipline. The cafe froze. Emma, the barista, stopped mid-pour. Customers stared openly. Tyler's hand fell from Marcus's shoulder as if electrocuted. Marcus looked up. His expression didn't change. A small nod. "Gentlemen, at ease." The 3 officers dropped their salutes but remained at attention. "We weren't expecting to see you here, sir," the colonel said. "En route to the base. Major Chen suggested we stop for coffee." "Good choice," Marcus said. "Emma makes decent coffee. Tell her I sent you." "Thank you, sir." The colonel's eyes flicked to the 5 young men. Something cold entered his gaze. "Is everything all right here, sir?" Marcus picked up his coffee, took a sip. "Everything's fine, Colonel. These young men were just leaving." It wasn't a suggestion. It was a statement of fact. Tyler's face had gone pale. His crew had stepped back, creating distance. We were just," Tyler stammered. "Leaving," Marcus finished. His eyes locked on Tyler's. No anger, no threat, just absolute authority. "Weren't you?" Tyler nodded, started backing toward the door. But the colonel stepped forward, blocking the exit. "Hold on." Tyler froze. The colonel's eyes dropped to Tyler's wrist, to the fake military tattoo. His jaw tightened. "That's an interesting tattoo. What unit did you serve with?" The question was polite,
professional, and utterly lethal. Tyler's mouth opened, closed. I didn't actually... Didn't serve? The colonel's voice remained calm. So you wear the insignia, claim the honor, but never earned it. It's just a tattoo. It's stolen valor, son, the captain spoke. It's a mockery of those who actually put on the uniform, who actually sacrificed. Tyler's crew was already at the door, waiting, desperate to leave. The colonel leaned in. Let me tell you about the man you just threatened. He pointed at Marcus. That is General Marcus Donovan, 4 stars, retired after 42 years. He commanded NATO Allied Joint Force Command. He advised 3 presidents. He held the line in Kandahar when everyone said it couldn't be held. He coordinated the evacuation of 3,000 civilians from Kosovo under fire. He has the Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, 4 Bronze Stars, and a Purple Heart from shrapnel he took protecting his men. The colonel's voice never rose. Each word landed like a hammer. You wear a fake tattoo and claim special forces. He commanded actual special forces operators, men who would run through fire at his word, men who trusted him with their lives because he earned that trust every single day. Tyler looked sick. The colonel stepped back. Now, you were leaving. I suggest you do so quickly. Never come back to this cafe. Because if I hear you've bothered General Donovan again, you'll find out how small this city is when people like me start making phone calls. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. Tyler nodded mutely. His crew had pushed through the door. He followed, stumbling. The cafe erupted in applause. The colonel turned to Marcus. Apologies for the disruption, sir. Marcus waved dismissively. You handled it well, Colonel, though I had the situation under control. I have no doubt, sir. The colonel smiled slightly. But some lessons are better taught in public. Marcus's lips quirked. Indeed. The 3 officers approached the counter. Emma, still stunned, fumbled with the register. 3 black coffees, the colonel ordered, and whatever General Donovan's tab is, add it to mine. His coffee's already paid for, sir, Emma stammered. And get him a refill, and one of those blueberry muffins. Marcus, overhearing, shook his head slightly. The cafe had returned to normal, but the energy had shifted. Customers who'd witnessed the confrontation now looked at the quiet old man with new eyes. Not pity, respect. The colonel brought the coffee and muffin to Marcus's table himself. Permission to join you, sir. Marcus gestured to the empty chair. At ease, Colonel. This isn't a parade ground. The colonel sat, removed his cap. Colonel David Rivers, sir, Fort Hamilton. I took over last year. I know who you are. You did good work in Syria. Rivers looked surprised. You still read classified briefings, sir? Habits die hard. Marcus sipped his coffee. Some of us can't quite let go. There was weight in his tone. Rivers recognized it. The burden every career officer carried, stepping away from the only life you'd known. If I may ask, sir, why here? Rivers glanced around. You could have any posting, advisory roles, teaching at West Point. Instead, you're in a neighborhood coffee shop dealing with punks. Marcus was quiet. His eyes drifted to a photograph on the wall, an old picture. Joe's Coffee from decades ago. My father owned this building. Marcus said finally. Back in the 60s, a hardware store. He sold it in 72 when I deployed to Vietnam. Told me he didn't want to keep it if I wasn't coming back. Rivers listened. I came back, but I didn't stay. Went career. When he passed in 94, his will had a clause. If the building ever came up for sale, I had first right. And it did. 3 years ago, same month I retired. Joe had been leasing it for 15 years. I bought it. Didn't tell him I was the landlord. I just come here every morning, sit at my father's favorite table, drink coffee. Looking for him? Marcus met Rivers's gaze. Looking for something. Peace. Purpose. I don't know. The honesty was stark. Rivers recognized it because he'd felt it too. That question every career officer faces. Who am I without the uniform? You found purpose today, sir, Rivers said quietly. I didn't want purpose, Colonel. I wanted coffee. With respect, sir, I don't think that's true. Marcus didn't respond. He broke off a piece of muffin. Outside, through the window, Tyler and his crew stood on the corner. Not coming back, but not leaving either. Stolen valor, Marcus said, voice hardening. It's not the tattoo, it's the lie. The disrespect to men who actually carried the weight. Rivers nodded. I lost 3 men last deployment. One was 23, had a wife and baby daughter he'd never met. When I see someone like that kid wearing fake ink, his jaw tightened. It makes me want to break things. But you don't. No, sir. Good. Because breaking things is easy. Building respect, building understanding, that's harder. That's the work that matters. Rivers finished his coffee, stood. We have a ceremony next month, promotion board. I think they'd benefit from hearing you speak. Nothing formal, just a few words. Marcus hesitated. He'd turned down a dozen similar invitations in 3 years. Speeches, ceremonies, all of it tying him back to a life he'd left. But something stopped him this time. Maybe it was Tyler's fake tattoo. Maybe it was Rivers's story about the 23-year-old. Maybe it was 3 years of sitting at his father's table, pretending this quiet life was enough. Send me the details, Marcus said. I'll think about it. Rivers smiled, relieved. Thank you, sir. He snapped a salute. Marcus returned it. Muscle memory. It felt right in a way that scared him. The 3 officers left. The cafe returned to its rhythm. Emma approached Marcus's table, refilled his coffee, set down a handwritten note. Joe wanted me to give you this. Marcus unfolded it. Shaky handwriting. Thank you for what you did, and thank you for letting me stay. I know who owns the building. Always have. Joe. Marcus looked up. Behind the counter, an old man he'd never noticed before stood in the kitchen doorway. Thin, white hair, worn apron. Joe. He met Marcus's eyes, gave a small nod. Marcus nodded back. Some secrets weren't meant to stay hidden forever.
2 weeks later, Marcus walked into Joe's at his usual time, 7:15 a.m. Same table, same order. But something was different. Tyler was there. He sat at a table near the window. No crew, no gold chain, no designer hoodie. Just a plain gray t-shirt and jeans. He was reading something on his phone. A coffee sat untouched in front of him. When Marcus entered, Tyler looked up. Their eyes met. For a moment, neither moved. Then Tyler stood, walked over, stopped a respectful distance from Marcus's table. "Sir?" Tyler said. The word came out awkward, unpracticed. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" Marcus studied him. The arrogance was gone. The swagger had disappeared. What remained was a young man who looked lost. "Sit," Marcus said. Tyler sat. Didn't look at him directly. Stared at his hands instead. "I wanted to apologize," Tyler began. His voice was quiet. "For what I did, what I said, the tattoo, all of it. There's no excuse." Marcus didn't respond, just waited. "After we left, I went home, looked you up, read about you, about what you did, where you served, the people you saved." Tyler's hands clenched. "I felt like garbage. I am garbage." "You're young," Marcus said. "Young people make mistakes. The question is what you do after." Tyler finally looked up. "I got the tattoo removed yesterday. Hurt like hell, but I couldn't stand looking at it anymore, knowing what it represented, what I was claiming I didn't earn." He rolled up his sleeve. The tattoo was gone. In its place was raw, red skin. Fresh. Marcus nodded slowly. "That's a start." "I also signed up," Tyler said. "Signed up for what?" "Army recruiting office. I go for my physical next week. If I pass, I ship to basic in January." Tyler's voice was steady now. "I figured if I'm going to wear the uniform, even in ink, I should earn it. The real way." For the first time since Tyler had sat down, Marcus's expression softened. "That's not a decision to make lightly," Marcus said. "It's not a penance. It's a commitment, one that will change your life." "I know," Tyler met his eyes. "But I need to do something that matters, something real. I'm tired of being a fake." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his wallet, pulled out a small card, set it on the table. "That's Colonel Rivers's direct number. Tell him I sent you. He'll make sure you get placed somewhere you can actually learn, actually grow. But you have to do the work. No shortcuts. No quitting when it gets hard. Understood?" Tyler picked up the card like it was made of glass. "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." "Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you graduate basic, when you earn that uniform, when you learn what it really means to serve." Tyler stood, extended his hand. Marcus looked at it for a moment, then shook it. Firm, brief. "One more thing," Marcus said as Tyler turned to leave. "That crew of yours, the guys who were with you that day, what happened to them?" Tyler's face darkened. "Gone. Soon as you embarrassed us, they bailed. Real friends, right?" "Good," Marcus said. "You don't need friends like that. You need brothers, the kind you earn through shared sacrifice. You'll find them, if you make it through." Tyler nodded, walked away. Marcus returned to his newspaper, his coffee, his quiet morning. But he pulled out his phone, sent a text to Colonel Rivers. "Incoming recruit, Tyler Brennan. Keep an eye on him. He's got potential. Just needs direction." The reply came 30 seconds later. "Understood, sir. And, sir, the ceremony next month? You're confirmed?" Marcus looked around the cafe, at Joe behind the counter, at Emma serving customers, at the corner table where his father used to sit. 3 years of hiding. 3 years of pretending retirement was peace. But peace wasn't the absence of purpose. It was finding new purpose worth fighting for. He typed back, "Confirmed.
I'll be there. Across the cafe, Joe caught his eye, gave him a small smile, a knowing nod. Marcus smiled back. Some men retire and fade. They sit on benches, drink coffee, wait for the end. Others retire and realize the uniform was never the mission. The mission was always bigger than cloth and brass. It was about teaching the next generation, about passing down hard-won wisdom, about showing young men like Tyler that respect isn't claimed, it's earned. General Marcus "Iron" Donovan had spent 42 years commanding armies. Now he was learning to command something harder, his own second act. One conversation at a time, one lost kid at a time, one cup of coffee at a time. From a corner table at Joe's Coffee, the same table his father had loved, the same table where legacy wasn't inherited, it was built. If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe for more stories of quiet strength that prove retirement doesn't mean the mission is over. It just means the mission has changed.